I am a little shaken up by the people who aren't trying to get every last nickel and aren't cutting corners when it comes to values. We've got a set of institutions that have fallen victim to the siren song of everything's about money and everything's about attention and everything's about fame.
Michelle Obama is a man. Am I right, America?
Imagine how Republicans in Congress or the MAGA world would react if a similar disgusting thing was said about First Lady Melania Trump at an official event. And it would be nice if there was one standard for such things and how we treat each other.
Met in silence from all the high-ranking people who were there, from all the successful companies that lots of people support by buying their products. Those companies sponsored the event, and those companies' leaders have said nothing about the guy that won the fight, screaming Michelle Obama is a man.
I am a little shaken up by this because I love my mother-in-law, and she made a home for Michelle and Craig, not with a lot, but with a lot of love and hope and perspective and wisdom. And her husband, Fraser Robinson, who got up every day and went down to right next to Navy Pier, working as a, in the water reclamation district. He showed what it means to work hard and to put family first. And so they represent, to me, what's best about this country and what's best about our values. And the people who aren't trying to get every last nickel and aren't cutting corners when it comes to values and treat people high and low with respect and kindness and handle their business. Just salt of the earth, bedrock people. And there are people like that all across the south side of Chicago. And there are people like that all across this great country of ours. And their voices are not heard because we've got a set of institutions that have fallen victim to the siren song of everything's about money and everything's about attention and everything's about fame and everything's about getting over. But meanwhile, there are just a lot of people out here who are just doing the right thing and raising their families and taking care of people.
There was one moment I do think Trump has to denounce, and anybody associated with it has to denounce, and that's that crazy fighter guy. I don't even have his name up here, but he won the fight. He took the microphone and he made a derogatory comment about Michelle Obama. To me, that on the White House lawn. Now, these are UFC guys, all right? They're crazy. They're idiots. You have Sean Strickland, who's one of the craziest people of all time, to the point you can't even pay attention to what he says snuck in. But when you have that on the White House lawn, on an event you put down, I don't care what you think about the Obamas or anything, that has to be an immediate denounce. Like, wrong, doesn't speak for me. I have no problem with the event. I guess you run that risk because these guys are lunatics, but that was the only thing. If Trump should denounce it, he should say that was totally wrong. The event itself, listen, the troops seem to love it. All the people there seem to love it. I have no problem with it. I think you're crying over spilled milk if you are upset about the actual event. But that comment, if you're going to do it, own it and be like, we don't, that was wrong and should never happen.
Hey Shane, how'd you enjoy the night, man?
It's pretty cool.
What do you think of Josh Hokit's joke?
Can you please?
What do you think of him saying Michelle Obama's a man?
I didn't love that.
Didn't love it? How come?
Why did you think?
A lot of people have said the opposite. That's why
I don't like that.
And yet, some guy won who I'd never heard of. Josh Hokit, takes the microphone after a match and says
Michelle Obama.
how anybody in our country thinks it's okay to have done that. Either you look in the mirror or you won't. Either you'll say, Samson, you are a libetard. You don't know me. Either you will dismiss what I'm saying because it's the only way to excuse the pathetic nature of people who would have 1 ounce of joy, laughter, or agreement of that comment. You're one or the other. It's binary. Either it repulses you or it amuses you. Your choice. Dana White said after the event,
hopefully we created some unity in the country and in the world and brought in some new fans. I hope that's what we walk away with tonight.
delusional Dana, you did not create unity in the country. You definitely did not create unity in the world. You may have brought in some new fans who were there for the spectacle, and my guess is the retention of those new fans will be roughly 0.0%.
It's a despicable thing to say about the former First Lady of our country, and yet something that has been met with silence from Donald Trump, from Joe Rogan there, who was holding the microphone, literally holding it, could have pulled it away, could have said, that's too far, could have said, no, she's not. It's been met with silence from everyone who attended. It's been met in silence from all the high-ranking people who were there, from all the successful companies that lots of people support by buying their products. Those companies sponsored the event, and those companies' leaders have said nothing about the guy that won the fight, screaming Michelle Obama is a man.
Really ugly moment at the White House UFC event Sunday when heavyweight champ Josh Hokit, after his beatdown of Derek Lewis, decided to take his moment in the sun and smear. Imagine how Republicans in Congress or the MAGA world would react if a similar disgusting thing was said about First Lady Melania Trump at an official event. And it would be nice if there was one standard for such things and how we treat each other. The event, of course, had already raised a lot of eyebrows and criticism. UFC paid for the event, but they also, no doubt, made a ton of money in merchandise sales and sponsorship deals and subscriber growth. And to critics, frankly, the whole event looked rather political, and to others, the merging of politics and entertainment was distasteful. Part of the staging at the press conference took place at the Lincoln Memorial with military personnel and honor guards being used. People objected to the idea of using military honor traditions for an entertainment event, using a almost sacred memorial site, the Lincoln Memorial, for a promotional event. Now, the Trump folks argued that this is all in celebration of America's 250th birthday. This is not about Trump. This is not about MAGA. This is not about the Republican Party. I guess the question is then, is insulting a Democratic First Lady part of that celebration? And if so, is the celebration for everyone in this country or just one particular group of people with certain political beliefs?
What many people find surprising is that these disputes are unfolding at a time when the United States is facing a wide range of urgent challenges that arguably deserve greater attention, including financial pressures on families, rising healthcare costs, housing shortages, and instability on the international stage. Against this backdrop, the Obama family's continued emphasis on community values and sustainable institutions is widely viewed as a more stable and long-term approach. Although their response has not been as confrontational or attention-grabbing as the style often associated with President Trump, it helps explain why they continue to command the respect of a large segment of the public. The reason is that they have consistently demonstrated composure and discipline in the way they conduct themselves. They do not allow themselves to be drawn into the surrounding noise, yet they remain willing to speak out clearly when necessary. By choosing restraint and maturity over creating additional drama, the Obama family has conveyed, perhaps, the strongest message possible They refuse to let personal attacks define or shape the moment. In doing so, they reflect the qualities that many people expect from genuine leadership. Thank you for taking the time to watch. If you have made it this far and found this content helpful, please don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel to stay updated on the latest news and information. Be sure to turn on notifications so you don't miss any upcoming videos. Goodbye, and we look forward to seeing you again in future programs. Until then, keep your curiosity alive and continue exploring.